What's going on, Jeromes? Daily Jerome's live stream. Happy Wednesday out there, everyone, everywhere. Thanks for making us part of your day. 11 a.m. Central Time ish. Monday through Thursday. Got some Q&A, talking some Vikes, talking some draft, all of that good stuff. So let's fire it up. First up, Tommy Johnson. I want an OC that looks at 2nd and 1 or 2 like an opportunity for a deep shot, not an opportunity to pound your injury-prone, highly paid running back into a wall of gigantic humans. Save that for 3rd and 1 or 2. Or hell, don't even do that. I mean, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. It's not really the offensive line to do it, but I would prefer if the Vikings got a little bit more aggressive on offense. I know that Kubiak, relatively conservative by nature, and also Zimmer really putting the governor on the engine of the Vikings offense. Tristan Deep. Hear that Seattle might hire Adam Gase. How ironic would be that Jamal Adams got out. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. So Jamal Adams trashing everyone, including Gase, big time on the way out of the Jets, and he's like, oh, hi. Yeah, well, at least they're on different sides of the ball and don't necessarily have to interact with each other. John Anderson TV. Kirk, when we signed RG3 as his backup, the circle is not complete. When I left you, I was but the learner, but now I'm the master. I still think that would be hilarious. I get that RG3 is not as movement skilled as he once was, for sure. Age, injury have caught up, but still got a good arm. Still is familiar with the Shanahan-Kubiak scheme. Would be better than Mannion. That's my entire thing. So when we did the video about that, we got a lot of comments of, I would prefer Mariota. Well, me too, except Mariota, A, the Raiders aren't going to get rid of him. They're probably actually going to extend him. He's under contract anyway. And B, if he did get to free agency, he's probably going to sign somewhere at least to be a potential bridge starter, probably going to get 12 to 15 million a year. And the Vikings ain't shelling that out for a backup quarterback. It's like saying, I'd rather have a prune. Would you rather have a prune or a big dish of ice cream? They're not the same. Now, next up is here. Tristan Bailey. On behalf of the Jeromes, would love to see you fire up a Madden rebuild of the Vikings, maybe even a series rebuilding different teams during the offseason. Could consider it. We'll think about it. Gavin Dahl. Would you trade Adam Thielen and a first for Watson? Well, yeah. They ain't going to go for that. Robert Barweiler. Realistically, what do you expect Spielman to make the primary focus of free agency for the Vikings? I think that they will probably bring in a free agent lineman as well as a free agent defensive tackle. Maybe edge, although the free agent edge class in the Vikings price range is pretty thin. But, Shelby Harris on the defensive line. Maybe they pay up for a guy like John Feliciano. Or, although Austin Blythe does seem like a prototypical Vikings free agent, undersized, Iowa guy, zone-based, played primarily center for the Rams, could kick to a guard, maybe kick Bradbury to a guard. I mean, there's lots of options there. Next up is Armin 13. Vikings need to get Rondale Moore. We could likely even trade down and get him. He is such a great wide receiver and can use him as a return. Could just imagine JJ and Thielen on the outside of Moore in the slot. Rondale Moore is a really fun player. Or you line him up in the backfield as well. Just give him the rock. Like, use him like teams should have used Cordero. Use him he's definitely not as stout as Percy, but using him in the backfield is certainly appealing as well. Plus, dynamic in the return game. He's a great player. Absolutely great. His 2018 tape is bonkers. The question is, can he stay healthy? Viking Aggie 2028. Would you rather see Kyle Hinton at right guard or Blake Brandel at left tackle next year? I would rather see Kyle Hinton at left guard. I think that switching sides would be like a big change for him. He's already kicking inside, which is already a big shakeup. So keeping him on that left side, using that athletic ability, I would like to see that. Laces out, Dan. So the Vikings could open up $10 million in cap by cutting Harrison Smith with no dead cap. How dare you? While I don't see that happening, should it happen, just no. Chris Danny Hansen. My wife is on the brink of converting to a Vikings fan from being a greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers fan. How can I bring her the rest of the way? Get her a Justin Jefferson jersey and then have her watch a bunch of Jefferson highlights. Because how can you not like Justin Jefferson, man? You'll be in. George St. Baptiste. Vikings should bring in Donald De La Haye, a.k.a. Destroying, or Market King, to compete against Bailey and Skolkwit. Also, Vikings trade Zimmer and a number 2 to the Steelers for Tomlin. Tomlin is kind of on the hot seat in Pittsburgh. Well, as hot as it gets relatively for the Steelers, I would trade Zimmer, sure. I don't think that they would want him. But like we outlined in the video, so Marquette King has proven that he can be an NFL level punter, and he's been phenomenal at times. Just hasn't really gotten a time of day. But De La Haye, I think that his brand benefits from him just being out there. Like if he actually got a tryout and was bad, I think that completely sinks it. So him as a specter of a potential kicker actually makes more sense. A Tomahawk 10. What's our chances of trading up in the draft for one of the top 4 quarterbacks? Trading up? Well, we'll say the top 3. So Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, 1%. Trading up for a Trey Lance, or maybe even Mac Jones if he strikes their fancy, 10%. Zar goes 44. It's my daughter's birthday. Can I get a skull birthday shout out? Nevia Joy. Happy birthday, Nevia. Listen to your parents. Be good. Oakview. What's the whole... Also, remember, the Packer fans, bad. What's the whole tight end situation? How much longer is Rudolph worth? And Well, then get out of Rudy's deal pretty cheap, and they can free up some cap space. Gronklin really came along in year 3. He's heading into year 4 of his rookie deal. And also Irv Smith Jr. is, of course, Irv. So Irv and Gronklin going forward, I think that's going to be your top 2 tight ends. Brandon Dillon, the Marion Barbarian, he did show well before he got hurt. I would perfectly be fine with him as a tight end 3. If and when the Vikings do let Rudy go, I would like to add a blocking tight end element in the draft later on day 3. Samuel McMullen. Thoughts on the Vikings getting Doug Peterson as OC? I think what will happen is that Doug's been shut out of the head coaching jobs. Kind of surprising, but and I don't think that he wants to have a year just as an OC. I mean, frankly, take the year off, recharge the batteries, maybe do some TV work, and then get back into the Derby in 2022. Kind of like what Mike McCarthy did, taking off the 2019 season. Because I think Doug will firmly be back into the coaching openings next year. John Anderson TV. So the NFL made a video called "The Players That Made 2020 Special." No big surprise, no mention of Dalvin or Jefferson, but they mentioned Alvin Kamara. Will the national media ever stop disrespecting the Vikings? Also, if you look at the highlights of, when they put together package highlights of whatnot, oftentimes there'll be highlights against the Vikings. So, the Kamara one, of course, but any sort of highlights, like any highlighted player, they'll just pick a Vikings highlight against. It's hilarious. Evan Cascanaway. Imagine in last year's draft we'd taken Cam Curl over Metellus. Cam was in that range. Would have been a great Anthony Harris replacement. I really was like whatever about Cam Curl, but he's coming out of Arkansas. But obviously blew up, 7th round pick. Metellus, Brian Cole, man. Spartus JX, one more thing. Why do you always say back in the day between gritted teeth? What am I missing there? It's inside joke from back in the day. Westworld. Why did it take a couple generations for Zimmer to get a head coaching gig when defensive coaches like Brandon Staley get promoted within 4 years of experience? Well, you look at guys like Zimmer and Bruce Arians, like they're never going to suffer fools. They're never going to pull punches. They will always tell you exactly what's on their mind. And in the interview process, that can turn some people off. Where you look at guys like Brandon Staley, I don't know Brandon Staley from Adam, but I'm sure that he did great in the interview. This is his first real shot at being a head coach, or first real interview cycle, and he did do decent things with the Rams defense, not against the Packers, but there are times, this year they were the number 1 defense in the NFL, pretty easy when you have Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald when he's healthy, but Staley, teams want young guys, and also because if you hire a young guy, he turns out to be a legendary genius that basically will give stability to your franchise for 10 years, 15 years, maybe even 20, potentially. Where if you hire an old guy, so Mike Zimmer was, 54? I want to say, somewhere in there when the Vikings hired him. I think BA was potentially older than that and had even retired a couple times. You get a couple years, and yeah, I think that offense and defense teams are going to that young Wunderkind type mold, but we'll see. Vivek, Vivek. What do you think Jordan Love ever puts it together? Saw he had a rough training camp in Green Bay. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. Blah, 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 blah. Sitting. Yeah, he absolutely has extremely high arm talent. It's what's appealing about him. Does have some mobility skills as well. Needs to rein in the accuracy for sure. But high end, could he be up there as like a Zach Wilson? Could he be up there as like a diet Patrick Mahomes? Sure, absolutely. I do like Jordan Love. And it's really annoying that he's in Green Bay as the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. Brett G. Well, my only hope is that maybe Rodgers limps along for 4 more years or 3 years, and then Love gets shipped out of town or just leaves in free agency. That would be pretty great. Brent G. Watched the mock this morning where you cut Barr. Had Parsons not been available in the draft conveniently, what would you have done instead to fill that role? I was going to target Zaven. Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. As well as Chaz Surratt from North Carolina. I think that he would have been a decent fill-in as well. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, not really a one-for-one replacement on that strong side. If you want to use him to replace Wilson, sure. Yeah, I was going to go all in on Zaven Collins. Or Nick Bolton, potentially, even though Bolton's a better Mike. But Miles. I love the Saints video. Karma is a biscuit. Vikings 2021 award predictions. I don't know. Like Jefferson wins Offensive Rookie of the Year, even though he probably won't. I think it is going to go to Herbert. That's about it. Ryan Top. 2021. I think Dalvin wins Running Back of the Year. It's not an award. I think that. I think that Jalen Waddle wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think Danielle Hunter obviously wins Comeback Player of the Year. That's about it. I think Kirk Cousins is a Pro Bowler. I think Dalvin is a Pro Bowler and All-Pro. I think Jefferson is an All-Pro. I think that Brian O'Neill gets his first Pro Bowl bid. I think Danielle is a Pro Bowl and All-Pro. I think Kendricks is Pro Bowl and All-Pro. I think Harrison is probably just Pro Bowl. The disrespect is real. I think Cameron Dantzler makes it in as a Pro Bowler. Ryan Topper, just saw Justin Jefferson's story where he's practicing with destroying. Yes, did a video on that. I don't read too much into it. Probably a fun collab. That might even go way back like chiropractic. Is our internet going in and out? It's weird. It doesn't matter. Next up is Row the Skull. Thoughts on Marquez Stevenson out of Houston? I say late 3rd or 4th round as a returner, receiver 3. Yeah, his speed is pretty damn legit. Probably going to run in the 4.35 range. You do question production tapered off the last couple of years. His big season was 2018. I believe he had a 1,000-yard season, but yeah, he's got that speed. Plus, he does have advantage on the Western Michigan guy, Jalen Darden, as well, because he does have decent size. He's about, I want to say 6'1", or 6 foot, like 175, 180. Like, he's about dig size. But yeah, this is a draft where, yes, if the right guy falls in the first round at 14, you would have to give consideration. But if you wanted a wide receiver 3, smaller guy, potentially speed guy that just gets open and can do some stuff in the return game, this is a really good draft for that. Rounds 3, 4, and beyond. Merrick Bertram. Would you like some overall changes to the draft, like additional round? Nah, I think it's fine as is. I know they're talking about potentially adding rounds last year because of the Rona, but nah. Chris Danny Hansen, what's the greasy, grimy Green Bay Packers cap situation? That's a good-looking question. Let's hear. Packers cap, no cap. Hopefully no cap. All right, Guten Kunst. All right, so 2021, it looks like they're about 24 million over. Oh, they did recalibrate that 180. Let's hear. Rodgers has a $37 million cap hit. Za'Darius is on there. Devontae's big money. Bakhtiari's extension. Yeah, so they're probably not going to be able to retain Lindsley and or Aaron Jones. So you just hate to see that. Just a shame. Just a shame. Next up is Let's see here. Mason Dean. If the Vikings have the chance to draft Parsons, what are your thoughts on moving to a 3-4? I say move to a 3-4 as is, but doesn't really look like it looks like the 2021 offseason is going to be similar to the 2020 offseason where no OTAs, no rookie camp, no mini camp. So implementing those changes might be a little bit tough. But Parsons, Barn, offense, outside linebacker. Well, I'll put Daniil out there. You get Parsons inside next to Kendricks. Yeah, I would be an advocate for it. Or at minimum, since base defenses are whatever, at least implementing like a multiple front in nickel or like a 3-3-5 nickel. Just get that. Ryan O'Sullivan. So I feel like a lot of what the Vikings could do in the draft, I'd find a major positive in. If they go O-line, defensive tackle, DN, we would all understand it. And if they went with one of the big 3 wide receivers or Pitts, we'd be really excited about it. Is it plausible the Vikings could make the draft that you would be disappointed in? If they draft a cornerback, I would get it, 14. But, I mean, the fact that he spent a 1-3-5 on cornerbacks last year, it'll just fuel the LOL Zimmer another cornerback narrative, especially since you don't have any draft picks until 78, 79 in the 3rd round, and you still have all those other needs. Hey, let us know where you're watching from and give a couple shout outs. Let's see here. Jack Buttram. Why is the Vikings clock management always so weird bad? Is that on Zimmer? Yes, it is on Zimmer because the same mistakes that he's making, whether it be an ill-timed timeout, bad challenge, letting the clock drag down, not having the team ready to go with situational football. I mean, that happened in 2014. Like, we've had 7 years to be like, hey, you should probably get better at this, and they don't do it. So, absolutely, it's on Zimmer. T-Rag. I know we need a guard, but not going to lie, I'm really pumped about using that first rounder on Pay Rousseau to be opposite Daniil. Thoughts? I would take Pay. Rousseau, Rousseau's a big gamble, but Kwity Paye is ready to rock and roll, man. Bills Kits. Dwayne Eskridge, dude, is a beast from Western Michigan. Round 3 has return experience, looks smooth and fast. Wide receiver 3 needs some up. Yeah, I think the reason that he may fall because of the size. He's 5'9", doesn't have that big of a catch radius. In fact, well, this is a good draft for like 5'9" dudes like Rondale Moore, Jalen Darden, Tutu Atwell. It's kind of fun. Reco 22. If Kyle Pitts or Trey Lance falls to us, who do we take? I would take Trey Lance. I as weird as it is, I would still advocate taking the quarterback, even though Pitts obviously would be able to contribute right away. So here, a couple shout-outs. Skull Mitzel, Prescott, Arizona. What's up? Pulford Skull, Nashville, Tennessee. What's going on? Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Viking Man, Skull from Pasadena. Nailed it. Rose Bowl. Jack Leno, Skull from Limerick, Ireland. Bagarla. Thanks for coming along. Guys are the best. Next up is Nicholas Riley. Would you rather see a Packers-Bills Super Bowl, but Stephon Diggs scores winning touchdown in Minneapolis Miracle fashion, and all the cheat says they're sads, or Brady Mahomes? Brady Mahomes. Even though it would be great to see the Packers lose, and Stephon Diggs scoring the winning touchdown would be great. But that means that the Packers made the Super Bowl, and I couldn't handle that 2 weeks. Little known perfection. Mac Jones actually reminds me a lot of Kirk, but I think it's a good idea to wait out Kirk's contract and accumulate enough draft capital, trade for top 2 quarterback 2 years. I actually think Mac Jones is more like Jimmy Garoppolo. Like Mac Jones, accurate distributor. A lot of his stuff is within 10, 15 yards of the line of scrimmage. Doesn't take that many deep shots. Like Kirk Cousins. Kirk has a great deep ball. Respect where it's due. But Kirk can also find the banana peel. Mac Jones has been really good about not making the big mistake. I think that's what's potentially appealing to him for. You look at teams like Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, Patriots to a degree, of teams that feel like they do have pieces needed to build around a quarterback, and they could actually get by and win some games and do some damage with just a game manager. Because I think that's exactly what Mac Jones is. Portford Skull. If the Vikings can get one of the top 2 free agent guards, do it. Totally part ways the brief and move Ezra to left tackle. I think restructure Barr because of Zimmer's guy, let Wilson walk. Sorry, Rudy, it's the Irvin Gronklin show. Damon Dembele. I would agree. Although they may hang on to Samia just because he's on his rookie deal, even though he was god awful. I think that Samia, the leaning issues are certainly there, but also that comes down to coaching. Like, you knew that he had those issues at Oklahoma. You knew it from his 2019 Week 17 Bears tape, and he did nothing about it. Miles, could you see the Vikings going after Shaq Barrett, another high-priced free agent like Scherf or Thune? Probably less on Shaq Barrett, but yeah, I could definitely see them in the Scherf, Thune, or even Leonard Williams derby. Like, they can free up enough money to go after if they really wanted to. Ryan Topper. I've heard a lot of places people were saying the Vikings were high on J.C. Horn. What do you think about him at 14? I think that he's not quite on Caleb Farley's level, but in terms of having the length, in terms of being great at press man, being a bit of a ball hawk as well, I think that he did great at South Carolina. I would get it. I would understand it, but people at the online Vikings draft party would riot. Yeah. Pulford Skull. Do you think there will be a full offseason training camp or preseason? Well, DeMaurice Smith, the head of the Players Union, talked about offseason might be similar to 2020 this time around. Training camp and preseason, TBD. It really might look a lot like the 2020 season. Siona Gona, if you could relive one memory or day of your life, what would it be? Birth of the kids. It's your wedding day. Birth of the kids. Well, birth of the first kid. Because second kid was old hat. Sorry, boy. But yeah, just the experience of watching your flesh and blood just come into this world. It changes you, man. Tommy Johnson. Do you think that Clint Kubiak could be the next trendy offensive mind in the NFL just because he would have Gary's scheme doesn't mean he would be as conservative? Or is it Zimmer makes every OC conservative except DiFilippo? I think that Zimmer does have like an overriding influence. And so, well, you've seen that sometimes it doesn't even work because like he's the head coach. He could be like, hey, let's run the ball more. But then John DiFilippo did not. At times, Stefanski sort of got away from that too. And then he'd be super passive aggressive in the media. Well, maybe we should run the ball more. You're the head coach. You could do something about that. But I would love if Clint Kubiak was just like Brian Daboll. Like, we are never going to run the ball. 999. Just chuck it. Tristan Bailey. Should I pick Barry Sanders, Mike Vick, or Randy Moss for my Madden Ultimate team? Go with the quarterback. Go with Mike Vick. Jaden Romes. If Harrison Smith gets a Super Bowl, will he be guaranteed to go to the Hall of Fame? No. It's really unfortunate because he's been too set back by the writers because he should have 3 or 4 All-Pro bids on there. He should have way more Pro Bowls than he already has, so that will ultimately keep him out. It's unfortunate. T-Rag. Are there any potential players you'd like to see us trade for in the offseason? Maybe not trade. Maybe, backup quarterback, Easton Stick. Gardner Minshew, of course, is my guy. Trace McSorley, even though he's coming off that knee injury. I mean, maybe the Ravens would be in business for trading Trace McSorley, or it could just draft Ian Book, who's basically the same guy. Not really in the mood for trades, but free agents of guys that I liked in the draft before that would benefit from a change of scenery, sure. Or also watch veterans that are probably going to be cut. So like David DeCastro, the guard for the Steelers, formerly went to school at Stanford. I think that he may get cut because the Steelers have a bit of cap trouble, and he's basically out of guaranteed money. And yeah, he made the All-Pro team this year, but that was all on reputation. Like, he's not the same guy, but he certainly has a little bit left in the tank and will be a massive upgrade for anything the Vikings have in the offensive line. So next up. Oh. Why the Browns always want our toys, blah, blah, blah. There's rumors who wanted Daniil last year. Who wouldn't want Daniil and Thielen? Jack Bornicki. What do you think are the chances of the Vikings picking Caleb Farley or Pat Surtain at 14? If they're on board, 50-50 with Cristobal, but chances of them both being there at 14, actually, probably 2%. there's some really cornerback needy teams ahead of the Vikings. Jake Grasky, nailed it. I know it's unlikely, but if Lance is there at 14, I don't think you'd be a huge mistake passing him up. I don't think it would be a huge mistake, but I could see why Spielman would pass. Even if he's enthralled by him, I think Spielman is in a spot where he has to win now. And Trey Lance would be not helping you win right now. And then Spielman may not even be around to watch Trey Lance flourish. Colin Andrus, if Pitts falls, why not just take him and run 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end? No need for wide receiver 3 with Pitts Gronklin. Yes. Ezekiel Lockhart, number 1, brownies with peanut butter drizzle or Texas sheet cake. I don't know what Texas sheet cake is. Is that a thing? Or is that just a big sheet cake because everything's bigger in Texas? Oh, is it just like a brownie? Actually, that sounds really good. I'll gamble on the Texas sheet cake, sure. Number 2, have you seen some of the rejected concepts for Vikings jerseys for back days? They look really good. Yeah, like everyone wants the all-black Vikings jerseys. I don't know. They look too much like the Ravens. George St. Baptiste, do you think they should add 7-on-7 to the combine drills? No. Well, agents of prominent players will never let their clients in the drills because of risk of injury. Plus, I mean, 7-on-7, it's a lot more about chemistry. So you got the quarterback and the receivers. You got the defenders working together. So, I mean, unless it just turns into one-on-ones, which it would boil down to, I think that it wouldn't be an accurate depiction of how your guys are going to mesh on either side of the ball. So, nah. Stay in the Morrows. Starting an NBA franchise today, who are you going to build around pick 2? Zion, Tatum, Trae Young, Joel Embiid, Levine, Donovan Mitchell. I would take... God, I know I want to take Zach LaVine, but I'm going to go Mitchell and Williamson. There we go. Jacob McCullough. What's the probability we can get Thuney or Leonard Williams in free agency? 15%. They can scrape together the money if they want to. R free. Do you believe they will have a true plan for the trenches besides pick a rookie? If so, draft BPA the whole way through. I think that they will try to supplement as much as possible at positions of need. So edge, D tackle, offensive line, safety. But then unless you sign like a top tier guy who's immediately going to start, like a Leonard Williams or a Joe Thuney, don't change your draft strategy. Ezekiel Lockhart, Kirk Cousins of the Colts. Come on, who doesn't like it? I don't know, probably Chris Ballard. Randy Moss is the boss. It's stupid that either Aaron Rodgers or Greasy Graham and the Greasy Graham are going to go to Super Bowl, or Tom Brady. I'm fine rooting for Tom Brady. It's a funny story. I don't always make the AFC Championship games, but when I do, when I don't, I make the NFC title games. I respect Tom Brady and his weird avocado ice cream diet. Yeah, football freak. Do you really think Kyle Rudolph will really be gone next year? Yes, or just be tight end 2, be tight end 3. Yeah, I think he's going to be gone next year. Bryce Faringer. Should the Vikings make Barr a defensive end opposite Hunter and make cap room because Eric Wilson? I don't know if... I think it might be too late in his career to make that switch. Also remember, when he was at UCLA, those 2 years he was a defensive end, those are his first 2 years at defensive end because he was a running back before that. So I think that it may be too late. Lastly, what do you think about Bama OG Deontay Brown? I think that he is huge. I think he is huge. I think that even though I'm not a scheme fit snob, he definitely is a bit of a plotter. Like he's not in the realm of a Landon Dickerson or a Trey Smith, but he gets it done. I do enjoy watching him. Just an absolute mammoth. He's great. And I mean, hell, if the Vikings go with Brown, say they go Darisaw round 1, they trade down and get Darisaw still, and then they pick up Deontay Brown. Hell, he might make it to the 4th round. Like the first pick of the 4th round. I'm in. Jake Bornicki. What are the chances we see Josh Rosen as starter for the Niners next season? Probably low. I think that they will draft a quarterback at 12 if they don't acquire one. Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Kirk Cousins. Stanley Morris, 3 wishes from a genie. I'm going telepathy, all the money in the world. So 3 wishes. Telepathy is a good one. So you can read. Wait, no. Is it telekinesis where you can move things with your mind? Actually, I might pick that one because telepathy might just get boring because then you hear everything that everyone thinks, and what most people think about most of the time is stupid. So I'll actually take telekinesis. I would cure cancer. Nailed it. And I would... I would make it so in Minnesota... No. I was going to say so it only snowed on Christmas, except the potential ramifications of the climate messing that up. Nah. I'm going to pocket wish 3. Actually, no. I'll just be... it's easy to wish for all the money in the world, except then... I mean, how does that impact other people? Like, how does that impact the economy? Like, you could wish for $1 billion, but does that money come out of the economy, or is that just printed new? So then you have inflation issues. So I'll just be like, I will be owner of the Vikings and the Lakers. Nice. I'm in. Stan Lars of quarterback falls top 5. Yeah, go get him. Tanner Smits. Let's say the Vikings are all in on edge at 14. Pay Rousseau are on the board. I would take Kwity Paye. I think Kwity Paye has a much higher floor and probably about relatively as even ceiling. Paye kind of reminds me of Brandon Graham more than just the Michigan connection, but like a higher end Brandon Graham. Can kick inside if you need, but just in terms of body type and size and decent against the run. Rousseau is a wild card. Sometimes you see Charles Haley, but he's tall. He's a former wide receiver. Speaking of experience on defensive line, he really only has 1 year of real experience as a defensive lineman. You do worry about is he too wafer thin to hold up in the NFL? You like the length. He's a little bit awkward at times. It's like sometimes he moves like a 7'2" guy who's in the NBA only because he's 7'2". Yeah, like not even like Sean Bradley, well, who's 7'6". But now who's a 7-foot guy who's like really spindly? Oh, who was that basketball player that was just hilarious? He was always he was always on Shaqtin' and a Fool. JaVale McGee. Yeah, sometimes Gregory Rousseau moves like JaVale McGee. Now, the upside is absolutely there, but if you want just a pure potential guy, hell, I would consider Azeez Ojulari at 14 over Gregory Rousseau. I would. I don't think that's that crazy either. Chris Danny Hansen. What's the most Minnesotan food dish you can think of? Hot dish with no seasoning and ketchup on top. Saxon Melberg, quarterbacks you'd rather have over Kirk. All right, well, we're talking about one season or are we talking about forever? Because whenever this is, or one game, whenever this is asked, I always think of one season. So I will go, I'm probably going to forget someone. So I'm going to take Rodgers out just out of spite and principle. So now I'm going to talk about him. I will take Russ. I will take Mahomes. I would take Brady. Well, Brady next year is going to be, 46? God dang. I'll take Brady. I will take... not going to take Tannehill. I'm not going to take Mac Ryan. I'm not going to take Stafford. I will take Justin Herbert, even though he's not Offensive Rookie of the Year. I will take Joe Burrow if that knee is good. I will take. Will I take Fitztragic? Nah, I can't. I'll take. I mean, Dak, if he's fully healthy, that's a toss-up. It is. I will take Josh Allen. I will take. I'll take Trevor Lawrence. Again, if we're talking about 1 year and it's next year, I will take. Hell, I might take Zach Wilson. I might just gamble. Damn the torpedoes. I will take. Not taking Goff. I'll take Kyler. I would. And Deshaun Durr. Forgot that he's not really on a team. And is that about it? I'm sure I'm missing someone. That doesn't matter. Lastly, Spartus Jacks. What do you think about this theoretical trade with the Niners? Kirk Cousins, the 14 overall pick, and a 4th rounder in exchange for the number 12 and their 2nd round pick. All right, so Cousins 14 for 12 and 2. I don't think they would do it. Well, it'd be close. It'd be close. I would, if they're that interested, I would, I don't know, kick out that 4th round. Yeah, but I think the Niners are in too good of a spot to potentially get a guy at 12 like Trey Lance, or even trade up into the stratosphere, get one of the big 3. So I guess we'll see. But that's it. That's the Daily Jerome's live stream. You guys are the best. Thanks for coming along. We'll be back tomorrow. Skol. Production value.